Hey Virgos, I hope you guys are doing great. Welcome to your New Year's reading where we'll take a peek at things that may have happened in 2021 and take a peek at your transition into 2022. So let's start by pulling a couple of oracle cards just to see what the energy is surrounding this reading for you guys. Okay, and we have two that flipped out off the break. We have Gateway and we also have Abundance. So let's pull another, see what other energy is surrounding my Virgo collective going into 2022. And what we have for you is a change in the wind. So Virgo, super positive, very relaxed and calm energy surrounding this reading for you. I feel like for a lot of you, you've been sort of sitting on this energy where it's like something's coming, and you can't quite put your finger on it, but you know that it's going to be big, you know that it's going to be life-changing. And I feel as though this has something to do with the life that you have envisioned for yourself, right? So it feels almost as if there's a door that's opening for you in the new year, that all you have to do is sort of step through and you're greeted with this amazing world that you have dreamed about for so long. It feels as though it's going to happen very suddenly, that you may not necessarily see it coming, the how or the why or the when. It's almost as if you've ever been outside on a windy day and it's like the wind is blowing to the side, and then all of a sudden it stops and then you have a gust that's coming from the other direction. So that's sort of what this feels like. It feels like things have been moving, and then all of a sudden there's a pause, and then there's a shift and something extraordinary happens. So you might be in the middle of that pause right now, or it's coming towards you, I feel, rather quickly. So let's dig into some tarot and see what else is happening for my Virgo collective. Now, the lesson that you learned over the past year, the most important lesson, we have the Four of Pentacles. This is a card of holding back. So for a lot of Virgos out there, I feel like you have spent the past year moving in silence, where you may have shared a few things here and there with family and people that you consider friends. The big stuff you've sort of kept to yourself. If there were sort of achievements that you made on your own, even things like, let's say you have a house, then if you refinanced it, you didn't tell anybody. If you took on a new project at work or something, you didn't share it broadly. So if you started a new business, you've kind of kept it to yourself. So there's this sense of moving in silence. I feel like you've learned over the past year that for whatever reason, anytime you sort of verbalize what your goals are, what your dreams are, what your hopes are, somehow, some kind of way, it always falls through. And I think that over time, you've learned that lesson, and especially in the past year, where I think you've achieved some things without telling anyone until it was actually done. So I think that you learn to hold things a little bit closer to your vest. And I think that also applies to relationships, right? Where you're now in sort of the mindset that, yeah, I'm not going to give all of me up front. I'm going to sort of see how this unfolds, and I will give appropriately. So I feel like you've learned to sort of modulate, that's the word, modulate how you operate when it comes to other people, and to giving too much of yourself or too much information away. So taking a look at your biggest achievement from last year, we have the Six of Cups. I feel like, Virgo, in the past year, you've gotten back to yourself, or you've gotten closer to getting back to the person who you were, the person who you wanted to be. It feels as though you got knocked off track a little bit. I think because of situations involving other people, involving like your finances, the work environment that you were in. It put you in this place where you just weren't moving. And I feel like over the past year, there's been a lot of self-work, there's been a lot of introspection, and now you're getting back to you. And that, I think, is something that you were missing for a while, but you're starting to find yourself again. You're starting to find that voice that you had lost. You're learning to find that courage that you didn't know you had. This is sort of a rebirth into your former self before life got in the way. So what you're leaving behind. Wow, Virgos, you really leaving all of that? You're leaving all of that behind? Okay. So we'll take all of them. We have the Page of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Emperor, and we have the Star in reverse. So my Virgo collective, I feel like what you're leaving in the past is waiting on someone. I think that when it comes to a specific person in your life, I feel like you waited for them to step up. You waited for them to communicate. You waited for some type of offer from this person, and it hasn't come. And it feels almost like you've made a deal with yourself. Like, if I don't hear from this person by the stroke of midnight on January 1st, I am done. I am done. And Virgo, I actually feel like you're going to stick to that. Not because this person's a bad person or because you don't care about them. It feels as though your perspective has changed. So whereas, this person was someone that sort of frustrated you in the past, that made you feel some type of way, I feel like as you've started getting back to yourself, as you've started tapping in, as you've started being more introspective and more you-focused, it feels as though that has created a change in how you view this other person. Whereas they were, I think, a pretty important part of your life before, the path that you're on now and how you're viewing yourself is different from where you were when you met them, from when you interacted with them. And I think that these changes that you're making for yourself, getting back to yourself, is going to make you see things differently here. And I feel like you're going to leave this person back in the past. So taking a peek at what you should expect this year. What should my Virgo collective, expect? We have the Page of Wands in reverse, and we also have Judgment. So what I feel like you should keep an eye out for in 2022 is the ending of a lot of things. I feel like, again, because your direction has changed, then I do think that this has to do with another person, Virgo. I do think that your feelings, that your energy towards this person is shifting. Like, it's literally shifting by the second. Every moment that you spend working on you getting back to you is translating over here. And I think that your energy, that the feelings that you had for this person are going to diminish pretty quickly and pretty consistently. So there's a decision, I think, that's going to be made when it comes to you and this other specific person. We have the Three of Wands in reverse that came out for what's going to be this year's biggest challenge. And that's sort of being patient and waiting for your ships to come in. So remember that the overall energy that we had was this feeling, right? That you had, that something was coming, that something's on the horizon. And I think that the biggest challenge for you, Virgo, is just sort of riding that wave and letting things sort of play out, letting things unfold and reveal themselves to you, right? So there's an element of patience here. And I think that there was also that sort of theme with the Taurus collective as well, for different reasons. But I think for you, Virgo, you know, you may not necessarily be the most patient person in the world to begin with. And so this sort of feeling like there's this change coming, that there's something bigger and better and more abundant waiting for you, is almost too much. Like I feel very jittery right now, but like in a very excited and positive way. So exercise some patience, Virgo. It'll serve you well. It's coming. It's coming. It is absolutely coming. So looking at the theme, the overall theme for Virgos for 2022. What do we have for you guys? What do we have for my Virgos? Oh, that card took forever to come out. We have the Two of Swords. No, I'm sorry, the Five of Swords. So this is about self-preservation and protection. So I think that you've already started sort of laying the seeds for that, right? With not revealing all of you to everyone who's around you, sort of holding back your energy, moving in silence, getting back to yourself. So I feel like the big theme for this year is going to be you defending that, you protecting this newfound peace that you've achieved, that you are very protective of where your energy goes. You're very protective of the time that you invest in other people. And looking at the bottom of the deck, we have the Wheel of Fortune. So this is change, right? So we already have two cards of change in the overall energy. And then for the theme for this year. So there are changes coming. And you have to make sure that you protect your energy so you can take full advantage of all of this abundance that's coming towards you, because that gateway is opening. Whether you believe it or not, I think that you do. It may be opening a little bit slow, but it is. It is, Virgo, I promise. So what advice does Spirit have for my Virgo collective? What advice does Spirit have? Okay. We have the King of Wands. So I feel like with this card, Spirit is trying to say, you know what, Virgo? That person that you were before, now is the time to sort of fully implement them, right? Because I think that person before had this fire, they had this passion. And so I feel like Spirit is saying, Virgo, now's the time to embrace that fire that you have inside of you. It's time to embrace life again. And I don't know that you've been doing that so much, because again, we had this card of you sort of losing yourself and being back in the process of finding yourself. And so Spirit is saying that now is the time. You're not going to find this gateway without embracing life. Because I think that this is going to come to you when you're not expecting it, but when you're sort of living to your fullest. So embrace life, Virgos. Embrace life as much as you possibly can. So, all right, we're going to do the transition from 2021 to 2022, but you had a chunk of cards flying out, so we're only going to take like one or two. All right, you know what? We're going to take, we'll take these three because your cards seem to have a lot to say. So your transition going into 2022, Virgos, we have the Moon, we have the Hanged Man in reverse, and we have the Chariot. So it looks like you're going to be, I want to say you're taking a leap of blind faith. Like these cards to me kind of signify the Fool card, like in just sort of multiple definitions. So it feels like even though you're not sure of what's coming next, you only have this sort of vague feeling that all of the work that you've done on yourself, all of the seeds that you've planted are going to finally be ripe for harvesting. You may not necessarily know what that looks like. You may not know the when, you may not know the how, but you know that it's happening. And so I think that going into 2022, you're okay with moving forward, even if you don't necessarily know what you're moving forward to. So even in spite of that uncertainty, like, you are determined to take these lessons that you've learned. You are determined to sort of wrap your arms around life and embrace it and enjoy everything that it has to offer. And it's sort of like, whatever comes is what's going to come. I'll be ready for it. I'll be fine. But I need to move forward. I need to keep going. So that's what I'm feeling your transition is going to be like. It's one of determination. I don't see any big roadblocks. I see just forward movement. So let's pull last couple of oracle cards. And all right, see what message Spirit has. So the first one that came out is I am the dreamer of my dream. And let's see what other cards came out for you. Okay, we are not taking all of those. Like 4 cards came out. Let's try this again. Just 1 or 2. 1 or 2 cards is good. All right. And then we have faith. So again, I feel like these cards are reaffirming, right, that there's this life I think that you're looking for. You've already started putting in the work. There's this feeling that something's coming. So whatever it is that you're envisioning for yourself, Spirit is saying, do not let that vision go. Do not let that dream go. Even if you can't see what's ahead of you, trust your intuition, and that those good feelings, those exciting feelings are going to come to fruition. They're going to manifest themselves in a way that's good for you. So have faith that all of that is on its way, that you deserve all of it, and that you can celebrate it with the right people, because there's some folks that you are leaving in 2021, which is a good thing. Not everybody can come with you on this journey. And Virgo, your journey is looking really, really beautiful. So I'm going to leave it there for you guys. I hope that this was helpful, and I hope that it resonated. If it did, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. But in the meanwhile, stay safe, stay healthy, and I am sending you all huge hugs.